Well, you know, I've named my YouTube channel Red Green Tractor Things, and that's because I've got 3 tractors and they're all either red or green. And we'll leave the Massey Ferguson for last here. But we'll start down here with the John Deere 60. And I used to ride this tractor when I was a little boy. I was made in 1952, and so was this tractor, so we're the same age, 69 years old now. It was built in 1952, and they had a production run of 1952 to 1956, and they made about 57,000 of them during that period. Cost $2,500 brand new back in 1952. It weighs about 5,500 pounds. It's got a 2-cylinder engine, big displacement for a 2-cylinder engine, 5.3 liters. I think that's about 320 cubic inches or something like that. It puts out 42 horsepower at the crankshaft, or what they used to call belt horsepower, right off of that pulley belt that got used quite a bit. We still use this tractor quite a bit. Still does a good job, and it'll probably pull harder than any of the other 2 tractors that are here. It's got a couple things that are wrong with it that maybe I'll be doing videos at some point in time. It's got a blown exhaust manifold gasket right there, you can see it. And down underneath, and it's hard to see, but it's got a cracked cylinder block down at the bottom, which is kind of happens to these tractors quite a bit. And I'm going to try some muggy weld, cast iron welding on that, and see if I can get that to fix that. Other than that, this tractor still does a pretty good job. I don't call it a 3-point hitch, it's more of a 4-point hitch. I know John Deere has a special name for this hitch, but it does a great job and it's really stable. Another thing that we're having trouble with is the power takeoff, and right now we've got the rear housing off of that power takeoff, and kind of a winter project coming up of rebuilding that PTO clutch. So look forward to that job. Oh, the old Farmall 300. My grandfather actually used both of these tractors on his farm back in Lisbon, Iowa. And I spent a lot of time on this Farmall, usually pulling harrow behind him with his, Grandpa had a 3-bottom plow that used that hitch, and then I'd take this Farmall 300 behind him and I'd harrow the fields down, kind of knock them down. And that's what I spent a lot of hours on this tractor doing. To let you know a little bit about this tractor, it was made in production run of 1954 to 1956. It cost about $2,900 at the time, weighs about 5,400 pounds, and the horsepower at the crank is 38 horsepower. And again, they listed that as belt horsepower. And we've never had a belt on this one. I just got done changing all the fluids and changing the fan belts on this one, and I've got a video up on that. It's a really nasty job. And between this Farmall and that John Deere, I'd rather work on that John Deere any day. It's just a lot easier to work on. This tractor weighs about 5,400 pounds, so weight-wise there's not a lot of difference between these 2 tractors, but I can tell you that that John Deere will outpull this Farmall any day. And I think the reason why is there's just more cast iron in that John Deere toward the rear axle. The final drives and the transmission, everything is way back to the back end of that John Deere 60, where this Farmall 300. A lot of that stuff happens up here right behind the engine. And this engine, I think it's a 2.8 liters or 170 cubic inches, about in that range. And so both of these tractors are about the same age as I am. I've spent lots and lots of time on both of them, not so much anymore. But I'm getting older and I don't like being cold. And so I bought this Massey Ferguson 2860M. And I didn't start off looking for a tractor this big, but tractors are hard to come by right now. What I really wanted, I think, was the 2840, which is the frame size is like 8 or 10 inches shorter than than this one. But the dealer made me a good deal because this is what he had and he could sell it to me, and so I bought it. And I'm happy to have it, and I like just about everything about this tractor very well. To let you know how it compares to the other two. It's 2020 is the first year of production run on this one. This one's actually a 2021. And the cost with the cab is about $43,400. And weight with the cab is about 4,700 pounds. And with the loader, I'm going to guess that the loader's probably adding another 800 or 900 pounds to it, but by the time you put all of that on there, if you look at the mounts for the loader, there's some pretty heavy-duty chunks of iron right there. And then you put something like a grapple that weighs another 400 or 500 pounds on the front end of it. You're probably looking easy at maybe 1,200 pounds with a loader and the front attachment on this tractor. And it's got a cab on it because I do a lot of snow removal in the wintertime, and I don't want to be cold anymore. One thing I'd say is I did get ag tires on it, and most of these are sold with industrial tires on it. And I can tell you the ag tires, if you're going to use them on grass very much, they will chew the grass up pretty fast. So, especially if it's wet ground. If it's dry ground, not so much. But if you're going to run it on grass a lot, I guess I'd suggest industrial tires for sure. This one, they also make snow tires for these, and I might end up buying a set of snow tires for it, although they're kind of pricey. I've got it set up right now with two remotes, and you can see the levers for the remotes are right up there inside the cab. I got a snowblower to put on the back of this because when the snow gets deep here in Iowa, like last year we had 60 inches of snow over the winter, which is a lot of snow for Iowa, and to keep my driveway open, I'd plow it, and eventually you come to the place where you just hard to move snow anymore when you're dealing with 60 inches of it. And so I went ahead and I bought a 3-point rear snowblower for this, so when it gets to the place where I've kind of filled up my places to put snow, I'll hitch up that snowblower and put it on there and run with that. I did get rear weights for it to add a little more ballast to the back end of it. I'm really looking forward to this tractor. I've had it now for about 4 months, only got 25 hours on it. But everything I've seen about this tractor I really like. And I'll do another video another day that's more specific just to this 2860M, because I know there's a lot of interest in these. It's what Massey calls their premium tractor. This one's a hydro. Didn't know if I'd really like the hydro as opposed to the synchro shuttle, I think they call it, but I really found out that I do like it. The only thing I don't like about it is sometimes getting the range selector. It's got 3 hydro ranges, like this one's the rabbit, which is fast, and turtle, and then snail, which is small. And one thing peculiar about these tractors is they've got a lot of safety interlocks, kind of stuff that we didn't have with these tractors. Basically, you could start this tractor with the thing in gear. And the same thing with the John Deere. If you wanted to, you could start it with it in gear. These tractors are made so basically you've either got to have it out of gear when you start it, or you've got to have it in gear with the parking brake set to get it to start. And so there's some things there that I'm just kind of working through and trying to get used to. But in time, this old guy will, I suppose. Right now I've got a grapple bucket on it from Everything Attachments, and it's a good quality tool really. And this stuff's it's not mild steel down there. It's I think probably what they would call a medium carbon steel, so it's built well. Most of these things have huge gussets. The ones made in China, I'll have huge gussets in here. This one's got tiny little gussets, but it's got 3 laminations in there of that good quality steel. And it's I've watched videos on it, and people trying to beat these things up and bend them and break them, and it's just really hard to do. And so I've kind of gotten used to using that. So it's got a third function on it to where I can lift the loader, curl or dump the bucket, and then dump these clams right here, whatever you want to call them. So looking forward to that, getting to know it a little bit better. For now, I guess that's kind of my rundown on my red-green tractor things, and hope to do more in the future.